G'day everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fools of a Took. I'm Michael,
And I'm Nick.
and this week we're going for Chapter 2, The Shadow of the Past.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Shadow of the Past. Alright, a quick recap of the episode. It's Frodo settling in as Master of Bag End. Becomes a little isolated, as Bilbo was in his Bag End days. But he still has his close friends with him, so he's not totally isolated, but he's just going a little bit separated from the other folk of Hobbiton.
Yeah, this is where we get a proper introduction of Merry and Pippin.
Yes, we do hear about Merry and Pippin in this one. Rumors start to spread of an evil in Mordor. It's the first time we've heard of anything bad happening outside the Shire. And Sam has an argument with this man called Ted Sandyman about the legitimacy of these rumors and if people really believe that they're true.
Right, yep, okay.
Gandalf, he returns, and then he leaves, and he returns, and he leaves. Turns out he's been coming and going for a few years now.
Right, yeah, so this is like over the course of years.
Yes.
That's what this whole chapter is like illustrative of what? 5-10 years?
It's actually 17 years.
17 years.
So from Frodo's 33rd birthday, and it actually gets to around, or the day before his 50th birthday.
50th. Oh my gosh. What?
Yes.
Okay.
So he comes back a couple of days before his 50th birthday, or a week before his 50th birthday. And that's what we understand as the first time that Gandalf returns in the films.
Yep, okay.
Right?
Okay.
And then they have a very in-depth discussion about the creation of the Rings of Power and the Dark Lord Sauron, and that they discover that Bilbo's ring that he's been holding on to for so many years is in fact the One Ring.
So this... Hang on. Going back to the 17 years passing, this makes Bilbo 138
Yes.
at that moment.
Yes.
Way beyond the life expectancy of a hobbit, right?
To certainly past the life expectancy of a hobbit.
Okay. All right.
I haven't double-checked how old the old Took lived to be.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm thinking of 142, but I could be wrong.
Okay, cool. Anyway, continue.
So they discover it's the One Ring, and they go through the ring's backstory and its journey and how it came to Gollum. They talk about Gollum for a while, and you know, his whole origin story. And they talk about what to do with the ring. Do they try and keep it hidden? Do they give it to Gandalf? Or does Frodo leave the Shire? Which, of course, is what they inevitably decide to do.
Yep.
And then we discover that Sam has been outside the window eavesdropping.
Yeah.
We realize he's actually doing the gardening through this whole conversation, but we realize he's listening when the gardening noises stops.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
actually
Okay. Yeah.
listening in.
Yeah. So he is dropping eaves.
Yeah. And he's told by Gandalf to join Frodo on his quest to get the ring out of the Shire.
Okay.
That's the basic recap.
Okay. Cool. So the thing that I kind of recalled as I was reading this chapter is that this is all the stuff that's like in the prologue in the films.
Yes.
Most of this is in the prologue. Like, there's only like a couple of pages, or maybe one whole page that's actually part of the storyline of the first film.
Yeah, I was trying to think of it before. Is maybe only... Is there even anything that isn't like told in the movie's prologue? Like, is there anything there that we don't learn in this chapter?
I don't think so. Well, we learned about the rings, them being forged, the number of rings given to the elves, the dwarves, and men, and old mate Isildur.
Yeah, Isildur. Yeah, he's in there, and we learn about exactly where he is when.
That's right,
when he falls.
Yep, because he gets killed in the river, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it turns out to be the Great River,
Yep.
which runs down the east side of the mountains.
So yeah, I'm not. This wasn't really clear in the movie, but I think in the book they mentioned that the ring changed size on Isildur.
Yeah, it just decides, yep, I'm just gonna ditch Isildur here. So it obviously, like, we realize it is able to expand and shrink its size so that it's able to fit on the ring of Isildur, and then later is able to fit on the ring of Bilbo.
Yep.
Right.
But that's the thing, though. Like in the movie, it made it seem like Isildur was just like an idiot, and the ring slipped off him because he's being a bumbling fool or something like that. Like it didn't give the ring any sense of personality or agency.
I think it does, but that totally relies on Galadriel's narration.
Yes.
So it betrayed Isildur
Yeah.
to his death, right?
But it's like I don't know. It's like how we're more inclined to personify inanimate objects to make ourselves feel better.
Oh, it's a big task.
Like it seemed like Galadriel was just saying, "Oh, the ring that betrayed Isildur," much like how the microwave betrayed me when it didn't microwave my food all the way through. Like it's like that kind of level of like personification.
So saying
That's how it came across to me.
Isildur thinks the ring betrayed him because it was actually Isildur who didn't put the ring on properly.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's what I was thinking. It's just like Isildur just put the ring on just like a little bit.
Yeah.
Not all the way on, and he jumps in the river. The fool he is.
I mean, he could have rushed it. You know, he's in the middle of an ambush. I mean, who has time to make sure that a ring's on properly?
yeah. But then again, like this is a decorated war veteran person.
He's a hero. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's one of the Numenor, one of the few surviving.
Yeah, one
Men
of
of
the
Numenor?
Newman of the door.
And Numenorian.
Numenorian.
Yes, he's one of those.
New man. Yeah.
You think he put a ring on properly?
Yeah, you think he'd be able to pull a ring on properly because he can, wield a fucking sword and do all these magical things in war, but he can't wear a fucking ring.
All right. So I guess turns out he did have it on properly, but it was the ring that escaped him.
Yeah, I guess I like that. I like that. That little element to me was kind of lost in the film. So
Okay.
this is really cool just to see how the ring has its own personality, its own agenda.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and we really get a sense of that in this chapter. Like, it really lays down just how much power the ring has in itself.
Yeah, and then what happens to the ring after that? It goes to Smeagol and Deagle, right?
Yes. So they're fishing.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't know that this is where, again, descendants of Store hobbits, but they were settled on the east side of the mountains. They were fishing on the river.
Okay, yeah.
And that's when fishing, Deagle's rod gets pulled in and he's swimming through the ocean and he's holding his breath, but then he just sees this nice shiny golden ring sitting at the bottom of the river, reaches out, grabs it.
Yep.
And then Smeagol finds him and says, "Yeah, I'll have that, cheers," and kills him. Because it's his birthday. He thinks it's rightfully his. It's his birthday
Right.
present.
Yeah, okay. So Smeagol got it on his birthday.
Yes.
Frodo got it on his birthday, didn't he?
Yes, he did on his 33rd birthday.
Did Isildur get the ring on his birthday?
Cannot confirm.
I reckon.
The ring is the ultimate traveling birthday present.
Yes, the ultimate recycled birthday present. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
It's like a ultimate C grade birthday present.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, nice shiny golden ring for your birthday.
Except it's going to kill you in X amount of time. But then again, how long did Isildur have the ring for?
From what I can tell, he didn't have it long. Maybe a couple of years or so, but
Okay.
I think they mentioned the years that he had it.
So it
But
wasn't like he had like a long and fruitful life.
no, well, long enough as a man of Numenor, like they're traditionally relatively long-lived as men go. Because remember, Aragorn is a descendant of Numenor, one of the Dunedain, right?
Oh.
Yeah, so they're part of that.
What's Dunedain?
I don't want to give the wrong definition, but the Dunedain are like the part of like the men of the north, I guess.
Okay,
As
so
I
it's just
understand
magical men that live for a long period of time.
Yeah, because their ancestors, forget which one specifically, is half elf, half man. It was like it was two elves brothers,
Okay.
two elf brothers, and one of them wanted to become mortal.
Okay.
So it kind of lived like a half life of elf and man, and then all descendants of that one became the men of Numenor, I think.
Okay. So it's like, so what we're operating on now is that this guy made a conscious decision to make himself mortal, and then his descendants were able to live a little bit longer.
Yes.
Okay. Or a little bit shorter, depending on how you look at it.
Depending on your
Yeah.
perspective, yeah.
Yeah, because my okay, so when you said like, half man and half elf, my first instinct was, oh yeah, so probably someone from each race came together and made a baby.
I believe so. Yeah, I don't know if it's a decision and you say, I am no longer immortal, and then that's it. Or do you make the decision to create an offspring that is half elf, half human?
Yeah. Or was it an oops? Was the baby an oops?
Yes.
Gotta imagine they have like, contraception in Middle Earth.
Well, I know it was an active decision,
Okay, all right, we'll go with that.
but what form that took? I think it was the elf deciding to be mortal, and then it just sort of changes.
Okay, that sounds like a more wholesome, pure story
Yeah.
than elf human sex. Even though that's the main driving romantic arc in Lord of the Rings is
Yeah, Aragorn and Arwen.
yeah.
Like Aragorn is again descendant of Numenor, so still part elf in himself, and was raised by elves for a time.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I remember now.
He knows the ways.
Yep. Cool. All right. So there's that. Smeagol takes the ring from Deagle,
Yes.
killing him. What was there? Oh, and then he's
Then he's disowned.
he's disowned.
He's disowned by his family and his village because he's he's using the ring to like eavesdrop on conversations and all sorts of like little evil doings.
So at no point do they actually address the fact that Deagle's just disappeared.
I think like no one ever finds Deagle,
Yep.
but I'm pretty sure it said that everyone assumes that Smeagol is responsible for Deagle's disappearance.
Right. Okay. So they all suspect that it's Smeagol, but they can't prove it, so they just let it slide.
I don't know if they let it slide about. Hang on, I'm going to double check.
All right.
I'll double check. No one ever found out what had become of Deagle. He was murdered far from home and his body was cunningly hidden. But Smeagol returned alone and he found that none of his family could see him when he was wearing the ring. He was very pleased with his discovery and concealed it, and he used it to find out secrets, and he put his knowledge to crooked and malicious uses. He became sharp-eyed and keen-eared for all that was hurtful, and the ring had given him power according to his stature. It is not to be wondered at that he became very unpopular and was shunned, when visible, by all his relations. They kicked him and he bit their feet. He took to thieving and going out muttering to himself and gurgling in his throat, so they called him Gollum and cursed him and told him to go far away. And his grandmother, desiring peace, expelled him from the family and turned him out of her hole.
That actually makes. See, I like that as far as a storyline goes, because it actually gives context as to why he's called Gollum.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas in the sort of little prologue bit of Return of the King film,
Yep.
it's just kind of like they just see the sort of evolution of him just saying Gollum.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to
He
Fine.
decided he was Gollum.
yeah.
So we know for sure that his community started
Yes.
calling Smeagol Gollum after he was making the horrible swallowing noise.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. The fact that other people named him that or started calling him that gives it a bit more significance, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I think the film just tries to let us assume that because he started making this Golluming noise, that it just turns into how he becomes known as Gollum. But yeah, they never directly pointed out. but I like how well they illustrate it here.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And yeah, he's kind of driven out, and he's just him in the ring, and he's looking down, and he starts eating raw fish, and then he doesn't like to look up at the sun anymore. So he's like, "Oh, how about those mountains?
Oh yeah.
Oh, those mountains. I bet there's some good tunnels in those mountains." So then he goes there, and for hundreds of years, he just sits in the caves and eats raw fish and just enjoys the company of the ring.
So it's hundreds of years. Like, is it confirmed?
Yeah.
How many years is he in the mountains?
I want to say, I think I recall Galadriel saying in the film for 500 years.
So he's able to live 500 years.
Yes, that's the power of the ring's ability to prolong life. Wow. I think.
Okay. So how old was? Does it say at any point how old Smeagol actually was when he found the ring?
No. No,
So-
it doesn't.
So Smeagol is the longest owner of the One Ring. Well, he had the One Ring for the longest period of time.
Held it for the longest period of time. Actually, I'm not sure how long Sauron had it for.
500 years.
Before he was
Ghostified.
ghostified.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gollum would give him a run for his money.
Yeah, seems like it.
it's a long time, 500 years.
Okay, so he goes off into the mountains, and then that's when is that where he meets Bilbo.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Sure.
Yeah, it would just be, again, just by chance that, like, it just sort of, I don't know, just escapes him. It abandoned Gollum, as
That's
they said
right.
in the film. Yeah, but then it's just sitting there in the pitch black, and then old mate Bilbo just stumbles upon it.
Yes, that's right. Because we spoke about this before. That like Bilbo accidentally found the ring, or the ring found Bilbo, as opposed to him actively stealing it because he saw something shiny.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to say if it's what the ring intended, because it just seems like it's a hobbit that picks it up, and it's like, Sauron's never seen a hobbit before, you know? So, like, it's just the most unlikely creature imaginable to come pick it up. It's hard to, like, I don't know if Sauron could have willed that to happen. But again, it's this idea that Gandalf plays with, is the idea of sort of destiny, I guess. It's like, you know, in a way, Bilbo was meant to find the ring,
Yeah.
in which case Frodo was also meant to have it. And it's meant to be an encouraging thought, apparently.
Guess so. I guess it's a bit like it's like a parasite that jumps between various hosts.
Yeah.
Like it just jumped from host to host to host to eventually
On their birthdays, no less.
on their birthdays. Yeah, exactly. So it was from like Sauron to Isildur, Isildur to Smeagol, Smeagol to Bilbo, Bilbo to Frodo.
Yep.
And then the cycle begins again,
And then the cycle begins.
presumably, according to Sauron's master plan.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure that this whole time Sauron's planning to just get it back as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Um,
So path to least resistance is to give it to the most peaceful race in all of Middle Earth.
I don't know. Would you rather give it to the most peaceful person or the most easily corruptible person, which be men? I guess, like, if you never knew about hobbits, then you wouldn't know how, I guess, resilient they are.
True.
Or how tricky they are to corrupt in that sense.
Okay, but wouldn't they just be like, "Oh, okay, you're coming at me with a giant mace. Ooh, okay, our bad. Here's your ring."
Well, in this sense, I mean, Sauron's not coming at the hobbits with a mace yet.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's just the ring.
Or the Screechy McScreech faces can come in and go, "Oh, okay, these guys are scary. They're on horseback. They're taller than us. They got swords and they're screaming.
Okay.
Here's a ring."
Well, again, I hadn't come across them until, I guess, later in the story.
Right.
So from the disappearance of Sauron to I guess, the emergence of the Nazgul and the rise of Sauron again,
Yep.
yes, the biggest danger to the person who has the ring is the corruptibility of the ring itself.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Hang on. What is?
Isildur can't destroy it,
Yep.
so he keeps it for himself.
Yep.
Smeagol's willing to kill to get it.
Yep.
Makes Bilbo lie. So I guess the more, I guess like pure the Hobbit is, the less influence it has, I guess.
Yeah, okay. So going back to what you said, Nazgul. When did Nazgul spawn?
Where did they spawn?
When?
When?
Because I remember there was a scene in The Hobbit where Gandalf goes to the tombs and there's all those busted out tombs.
Yes.
So obviously they came out of the tombs at some point.
At some point, I guess. Well, I mean, if that's part of the tale is true, it doesn't say in this chapter at least,
Okay.
or in the prologue or any part of that. So if they do talk about it in the book, we're not sure of that yet.
Okay. Yep.
But
we know it happens.
we know what happens. So
Yep.
like the 9 men have been killed. I mean, they've succumbed to Sauron.
Yep.
Whether they've been, I don't know, just working in the shadow, working like living in the invisible world, the shadow world, this whole time, or if they've just been, just sitting on the bench waiting to be called up by the coach and said, "Hey, we know the play. The ring's going to be over this way. I need you to go get it."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, they would have arisen. It's like, all right, we're gonna go for. Sauron was still in
Dol Guldur.
Dol Guldur. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. As the necromancer.
As the necromancer. So yeah, he's probably just called the Nazgul up then.
Yep.
As he's about to make his big play on Erebor, I guess,
Yes. Yeah.
for the Battle of Five Armies. Plan doesn't work because the dwarves win and the White Council banish the necromancer out of Dol Guldur. So like Gandalf and Galadriel
Yeah. So then all we know about it.
get rid of him.
So then he goes to
Then he goes back to Mordor after that.
back to Mordor. Yeah. Okay. Isengard? No. Isengard is old mate's sanction.
Saruman.
Saruman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Never mind. Okay. Continue. So that's the ring's journey completely accounted for.
More or less.
Yeah. I
Yes.
actually feel.
That's fairly well covered in
Yep.
this chapter.
I totally understand why Smeagol's backstory was saved for the start of Return of the King.
Yes.
Like, you could probably have done it at the start of Two Towers, even.
You could have, but you haven't met Gollum yet until maybe like 15 minutes into Two Towers.
Oh, right.
You
Yeah,
haven't properly met him yet.
Okay,
You see
okay.
little snippets of him in
Yeah, you see snippets
In
of him, like,
Fellowship.
yeah, because like, he's like tortured or something at the start, isn't he?
Yes.
Is that mentioned in this chapter?
The torture. It's mentioned that he actually goes to Mordor. He decides to go there.
Right. Okay.
So he starts off leaving the mountains
Yep.
as like, well, all right, now there's just fish here. I don't have my precious ring.
Yep.
It's probably worth going outside now because I don't have much else to
Got nothing
live
better
for
to
here.
do. Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing better to do. So he tries to follow Bilbo's trail.
Yep.
Try and find the ring again. And
What stumbles?
Gandalf has been following those tracks as well. But what he realizes is that the tracks led south and he found his way back to Mordor.
So you accidentally went to Mordor.
I think Gandalf reckons he actively tried to go there,
Yep. Okay.
or somewhere where he maybe felt the same kind of energy.
Okay. Yep.
It's like just kind of being drawn near to it. It's like, oh, I know where this was probably like where this was made. Like maybe they can help me find him, and maybe they can help me exact revenge on Bilbo Baggins, the bastard. You know.
Okay.
But then, yeah, so I guess it isn't really clear if Sauron's people tortured him into...
Okay, so in the movie, though, they did torture him, right?
The enemy found him first. Like, that's how Gandalf put it in the films.
Yeah, okay.
But in the book, it seems like Gollum
He willingly went there.
willingly goes to
and was
Mordor.
just like, hey, let's have a collaboration.
Yeah,
You get my ring back, and I'll tell you where he is, and you get my ring back.
yeah. But then, obviously, like, it seems like Gollum's just sort of, like, pushed off to the side once he's given the information.
Yeah.
Sauron just be like, yep, pew, see you later. All right, guys, let's go get this ring because
Yeah.
I'm fucking tired.
Yeah. Okay. The thing also, just going back to like the hobbits. 17 years
Yeah,
has elapsed.
Yeah, 17 years passed between when Gandalf first leaves and when he comes back to do the fire test on the ring.
So where's Gandalf go?
I think he's gone to look for Gollum with Aragorn.
Yep.
They hunt for him for a fair while.
Yep.
He's gone down to Minas Tirith to research the ring.
Which one's that?
It's the big city in Gondor.
Oh, right, yep.
They showed that in the films. He's gone down into the deep libraries where all the archives are kept, and then
Yep.
he finds this like recap of Isildur.
Mm-hmm.
And Isildur talks about the ring is precious to him, and I'm now bound to its fate, and
Yeah, okay.
he talks about the red markings on the ring
Yep.
that were there when Sauron was destroyed.
Yep.
But then as Sauron disappeared, the markings disappeared.
Okay. Yep.
A secret now that only fire can tell. So that's how Gandalf knows to go back, throw it in the fire, see if it's... And then if the lettering comes up, then that's the one ring. That's
So it
his
took him 17 years.
foolproof test.
Took him 17 years to work out all that information.
Yep.
Wow.
Don't recall if there was anything else that he'd been doing. Just tracking Gollum and
Oh my gosh, okay.
just sussing out any other dangers that might be arising in
How many
Middle Earth.
Ks did he rack up? Could have
Oh,
gone
man.
from like all across Middle Earth, like going back and forth and back and forth.
It's a long way.
Yeah.
I think, remember at the end of Return of the King, Frodo says like 13 months from either from Bag End or from Rivendell to Mordor.
13 months, okay.
But they had a few detours.
Okay. So we could say, we'll say 12 months.
So, yeah.
12 months
Let's
to go
round
from-
it up to 12 months for Gandalf.
To go from Rivendell to...
'Cause he'll be on a horse.
Yeah. Rivendell to Mordor. I don't know, was it 3... How long did it take to get from like the Shire to Rivendell?
Probably took them...
A week?
I
2
think,
weeks?
I think it probably took them, let's say, maybe like a couple of weeks. I don't know.
Alright.
I'm guessing.
So we'll just say it took Gandalf 12 months to go across Middle Earth and to come back. So that's 2 years accounted for. So he spent about 15 years. Like up to 15 years.
I mean, he's been and come
researching.
back, and he's actually returned to the Shire.
Oh, right.
Like, I think it says like maybe like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, right. Okay. So he's just going back and forth and back and forth and all over the place.
Yeah, but then there was a 9-year gap. Was the longest
Okay.
stint away from Bag End.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's still...
Yeah,
That's huge.
it's a long time. Maybe I don't know if Gandalf's being totally honest. It's like, dude, where have you been? It's like, I was busy. I'm looking for stuff.
I was in
It's
Saruman's
a lot
like,
of
little
things.
pantry just smoking up a storm for 9 years.
Oh man, the time flies when you're on that stuff. I bet. 33 years. No, not 33. 17.
17 years. Yeah.
17 years flies by.
What else happens in this chapter?
In this chapter, so we've got the discussion between Sam and Ted, Sandyman, which I think is a fun conversation because it's the first that we really get a look at Sam as a character.
Right, okay. So this happens at a pub, doesn't it? Or
Yeah,
something?
it's just at the Green Dragon. They're just
That's right. Yeah, okay.
they're just chilling and talking, and then Sam's just saying like, yeah, I reckon there's like, I don't know, they're like, I'd be worried about these dangers, and then Ted's like, yeah, right, no worries, like you're sounding like that Bilbo Baggins, like he was messed up.
Yeah, okay.
It's like everyone thinks he's weird, and now
Yep.
you're sounding just like him, telling stories. You know, you think dragons are real, and you're talking about walking trees. Like, yeah, Sam's like, I heard about these walking trees. They were like in the far north forest.
Okay,
Like-
so that's the first mention of Ents.
Yes,
Yep,
Right?
Okay.
I was like, this guy said he saw them, and he's totally wrapped up in it. He loves to believe all these stories because And he's grown up, I guess, like under Frodo and Bilbo, helping his dad look after the gardens.
Yep.
And
Because is
And Bilbo
Sam
would-
the same age as Frodo?
a fair bit younger.
Okay.
He's a bit younger. Probably like maybe 5-10 years younger.
Okay. So young enough that he looks up to Frodo.
Yeah, young enough that he looks after Frodo.
Okay, yep.
Still refers to Frodo as his master,
Oh, right. Okay.
right?
But it's because Frodo pays his bills.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's still an interesting start to their relationship or their friendship.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is why, like, you don't really get the impression that Sam is going to be the guy who's going to, like, be the greatest assist player of all time. The ultimate Scottie Pippen here.
Yeah.
Because he's just talking about, Frodo's best friends. Merry, Pippin, and two people I've never heard of. Like, Folko, Boffin, and Fredgar Bolger.
Yeah. Look,
This is like the only time we've heard of these two people.
I ignored the other two. I was like, oh yeah, Merry Pippin. Yay, nice. Fuck the other two.
Who the
Okay, so
hell
those,
is-
so Merry Pippin and Frodo are like the similar age, and
I
then
think so.
Sam's like a little baby in their
I
friendship
think
group.
I think Pippin is still a fair bit younger,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
but I think because they're somewhat related.
Oh, so it's like your baby cousin that you hang out with, but
Yeah,
but as you and all the people your age up, and you start playing with like big kid toys.
yeah,
That kid also starts playing with the big kid stuff as well.
yeah, exactly.
And so he's just frothing all the older cousin stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay.
But I think so. Of the four, Mary is like Frodo's definitely the oldest,
Okay, yep.
and then Mary would be next.
Yeah.
Then I'm pretty sure Sam, then Pippin.
I don't know, like watching the film and seeing the way that each of the actors, played the hobbits, I definitely got the vibe that Sam was the eldest. Like something about Sean Astin just conveyed a bit more age and experience compared to the other hobbits.
Yeah,
like
that's
Elijah
true.
Wood and what's the other two actors' names?
Billy Boyd
That's it.
and
Dominic Monaghan.
that's it.
Yeah. So Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, Dominic Monaghan, Billy Boyd. At the time, I reckon that Sam looked the oldest,
Yep.
followed by Mary,
Yep.
then Frodo, then Pippin.
Yep.
Like Frodo and Pippin definitely seemed like they were around the same age.
Frodo and Pippin.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that funny? But I guess because the movie really depicts Frodo as someone who's really young, kind of naive, but still just sort of like brave enough to be able to take on the
Definitely
This-
naive, but just helpless. Helpless is definitely the vibe. Like he
a little
wasn't
bit
re-
helpless.
Yeah, like he
Like,
was just
needs
thrust-
Sam.
Yeah, he
like-
he needs Sam.
Can't complete the journey without Sam.
Yep.
And yet at times is still just sort of like stubborn enough to like, I need to be able to do this myself.
Yeah. And then there's Mary and Pippin. Like it definitely seemed like Mary was the one that got Pippin into trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So that just makes more sense. So like bringing, I don't know, like actually no, like in the book, yeah. So Pippin is younger than Mary. So yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. It's just Sam's age just doesn't check out for me.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm picturing like so he's in the pub, so he's of legal age. So he's like a little 18-year-old defending this middle-aged man and his lifestyle.
Well, I mean, it's been 17 years, so maybe Sam's already had his coming of age. He's probably like, I don't know, 30s.
Okay,
Seven
so
or-
someone in their 30s defending someone like an older person in their 50s
Yep.
for the way they behave and the way that their parents have behaved as well.
Yep. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's a weird one to picture. I can't picture that. I can picture like a pissed off 18-year-old just like going up to someone else that's like 10 years older than them and chesting up. But I can't picture someone in their middle years doing that.
I mean, remember relative to Hobbits, like 33 was just coming of age.
Oh right, okay.
So I'd say.
So there's like an 18-year-old just defending their.
Yeah,
older
let's say,
neighbor.
someone who's like, 18, early 20s.
Okay. So that's happening. What else? what else do we learn from this Barry character in the pub?
Ted.
Yeah, sure, Ted.
I guess he just kind of represents the skeptics of.
Yeah. So he's basically saying what everyone is thinking in the
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, there's little bits of Ted Sandyman is the miller's son, you see, and Sam's already just like he's already just kind of like, as they would put it, getting sucked in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, queer things you do hear these days, to be sure, said Sam.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, said Ted, you do if you listen, but I can hear fireside tales of children's stories at home if I wanted to. So even already, he's just already like, yep, nah, this is not.
He's already checked out.
He's already checked out.
Yeah, I see.
But I really like the passion that Sam has in how much he believes that these stories are true, and just like there are bigger things outside this world than us.
Yeah, so he's like he's a dreamer.
Yeah,
He really wishes for the stories he's heard to be true, so that he can have the chance to experience it.
yep. And we learn like later in the chapter, like there is nothing that he wants more to see the elves.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So it's like, I would love to see the elves. Can you please take me? I was like, is this my chance?
Yeah.
Come on, please, Mr. Frodo, would you take me? And Frodo's like, all right, but you got to be a secret.
Yep. Okay.
And Gandalf's like, yeah, all right, he's good.
Like, oh yeah, he seems legit. Okay, cool. Off you go.
Yes.
Toodle pip.
What else happens? What else we got here?
I think that's all I remember happening. I don't
That's
remember
all you
anything else.
remember?
Yeah, that's the extent of my memory because I kind of write off this chapter of it's just the prologue malarkey from the movies,
Yeah, I mean, it is.
and it's when Gandalf grabs Sam and yeets him through a window via a window.
Via window.
Yeets him via a window and says, "Okay, you're gonna go Frodo."
I guess that's more or less how he put it.
Yeah. Is that it?
I mean, yeah, basically. But I think there's still a few more details that I sort of like found interesting or
Okay.
rather enjoyed.
Yeah.
Something that was interesting that there was already an aspect of Frodo that is already starting to go if he's in two minds about things.
Oh.
So I don't know if this is influence from the ring. So it talks about, again, he's sort of standoffish, still a little bit isolated. He's not talking to a lot of people. He spends a lot of time just like wandering around the fields and just exploring a fair bit. And then, so he's thinking, I should go and like find Bilbo, go on my own adventure. And then the other guy's like, no, I'll stay. Like, that's not my place.
Okay, so it's not necessarily the ring corrupting him. Do you reckon?
I think it's just the start of already two different sort of states of mind within Frodo.
Okay.
And with the whole split personality thing that Gollum had,
Yep.
Gollum and Smeagol, I don't know, is this just like the first little seed that's planted where Frodo's already in two minds about one thing?
Yep.
I thought that was an interesting point.
Yeah. Okay. So so you see him like slowly. He shows the potential to have the split in his personality.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So another part was once Gandalf returns. I think this is a funny thing because Gandalf arrives back in the evening.
Yep.
And they start talking about some serious things.
Yep.
But then Gandalf says, it's not actually the right time for it. We'll go to sleep, Frodo. We'll talk about it in the safety of daylight.
Okay.
Daylight comes.
Yep.
All right, so this is the One Ring. It's
Like it seems like it's something that you can just go. You can just say at that moment. You don't have to wait until the next morning. Like it's still the same news.
it's the kind of news and message that deserves a bit of urgency, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe like Gandalf's 9 years away has really skewed this perception of time.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he's waited 17 years. He can wait another day.
Yeah, what's another day? Yeah.
What's another day when the
okay.
Dark Lord's after you? I just thought that was hilarious. So, I mean, Gandalf's been... he's just dogged him a little bit.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, Gandalf definitely... he definitely comes across as less all-knowing.
Yeah, like... But then at the same time is like, oh, there is much that I know about the things in the world, and I won't bother to tell you about them. But this stuff is important, and I could have told you last night, but I waited another night, and now I'm telling you.
I waited for literary effect.
Just
I waited for literary effect in case someone decides to write a biography of us.
just in case.
Just in case.
Oh, but lo and behold. It's funny. Yeah, and it's Frodo that breaks the silence. Like, they're just chilling, smoking in silence, like, the next morning. Frodo's sitting still, deep in thought. Even in the light of morning, he felt dark shadow of tidings that Gandalf had brought, and at last he broke the silence. So last night you began to tell me strange things about my ring, Gandalf? And then you stopped because you said that such matters were best left until daylight. It's like, it's daytime now. Feel like talking yet? Or am I just going to sit here like a fucking idiot, wondering what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Feeling this shadowy vibe. Like, I think you know something about this. It's like, oh yeah, I know. No, I guess I know a thing or two. Let me tell you about these rings. It's like,
oh my god,
dude, Gandalf.
Yeah, I think Gandalf definitely dropped the ball there. Like,
yeah,
could have had a bit more urgency.
I mean, yeah, what's a day in like in all the years that he's lived and walked the earth? But yeah, dude, this could be the one ring. Like, if it was me, I would be finding out that night. Like,
yeah, absolutely. You'd ask about it.
Yeah, I would go like in the film. I think the film did it better this way.
That's right. Yeah, because he comes back and it tells him straight away.
He does the whole jump scare thing, which I don't know, maybe was a little unnecessary, but like he's gone home and like turned the whole place upside down. Frodo's rocked up home from the Green Dragon, like, what the fuck is going on? I did not leave the house like this. He's like, is it secret? Is it safe? Oh. You get that urgency from Gandalf in the film, right?
Yep.
And it's all happening that same night. Boom, it's in the fire, it's the One Ring. Fuck, all right, okay. There you go. Yeah, this is what this means. And they have that whole conversation that night. And they find Sam eavesdropping that night. And so that all happens in the space of an hour or so.
Yep.
Whereas,
and then off they go.
Yeah. So here, from Gandalf arriving to like finding Sam, it'd be like 15 hours or so. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, you get there in the evening, you chill, you start talking about the ring and, I don't know, Sauron. It's like, oh, Sauron, who I mentioned a little bit last night. This is how bad he really is. It's like,
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, remember that terrible, terrible thing that, remember that terrible human that has supposedly, created this One Ring that's essentially his true essence. Yeah, so we mentioned that last night. That's actually the ring you've got on your person right now.
That's actually the one. The one, right?
Funny we say that. That's the one.
Funny you mentioned that. Oh, that's actually the ring, yeah. Now that we've thrown it in the fire, and I know for sure.
Okay, so this is definitely a chapter that the movie does better with than the book.
It does really well. Yes, it really gets the proceedings.
Yes, it gives a bit more momentum, whereas this sort of drags it out a bit. So I definitely didn't get that sense of urgency reading this chapter.
No, definitely not. I mean, like, yeah, it's willing to stretch out the time a little bit, and really, again, I just guess lay down the context of what the ring is, its journey, Gollum's journey, like the history of the rings and all that. Like, if you got to put that in this, I guess, like scene in the book or this chapter, then I guess you could do it that way. But in the film, love the urgency, and you really get a sense of how much danger they're in.
Yeah, because like if they delayed any further in the movie, then the baddies would get them.
Exactly.
Whereas if that was the circumstance in the book, like Frodo would be dead by now.
Yeah, because they're already like halfway there, I guess.
Yeah.
So, like, dude, it's not. Yeah, time is something you don't have anymore.
Yep.
So
Okay.
you can't take time with this. I mean, yeah, you can talk about all the rings, and you can talk about Gollum.
You can walk and talk. You don't have to sit. You don't have to be there. You don't have to be specifically in the sitting room talking. You can walk and talk.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Walker, Walker, Walker. Hey, Frodo, you got your walking stick? All right, bring that ring, and yeah, we'll just have a chat, and then walk and talk. It's so easy.
Frodo, Walko.
Gandalf, you're the wandering wizard. Wander while you talk.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're already halfway to where you need to go by the time you finish telling your story.
Ugh. Was there anything else in this chapter?
Oh, Gandalf, man, I tell you.
That's it?
Oh, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your major takeaway from this chapter?
I'm going to have two. One is Gandalf, and that he, dropped the ball a bit and was a little, he didn't have the nous to, like, he played for time, but he shouldn't. There's no time to play with.
Yep.
Time is of the essence.
Yes.
And
Okay. Yep.
he had too much essence. And I think my second one is Sam, and like just learning about seeing the way that he talks in the film, and I really kind of get that sense of passion for the world outside the Shire, and and when he's being told to go off with Frodo, you already get that sense of, yep, I'll go see the elves, but I'll do anything for you, Mr. Frodo. Like, you already get that sense that, all right, he's made of that kind of stuff, that he's going to do what it takes to get the job done, kind of thing.
Moral fiber.
He's got that moral fiber.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was something I loved.
Yeah. Okay. My biggest takeaway was the fact that Gandalf left, or Bilbo left the Shire.
Yeah.
And it was 17 years before Gandalf comes back and reveals it's the One Ring.
Yep.
That's huge. That's
So-
such a long period of time.
In the film, like, Frodo, like, I mean, no one's aged at all,
Yeah.
but it's been 17 years between Gandalf leaves and Gandalf comes back.
Yeah. Like, it almost feels like it should be like, this chapter should be Fade to Black, 17 years later.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see Lord of the Rings doing that.
But, that's the kind of vibe that,
It might be a bit necessary, yeah.
yeah, because it's just a long period of time, and like, they go about their normal lives for 17 years.
Yeah.
Frodo has the ring on him for 17 years. It's just become part of his routine to pick up, put his pants on, put his waistcoat on, put the ring in his pocket or whatever, or as a necklace.
He's got it on a chain,
Yeah.
but that's in his pocket.
Yeah, okay.
So he's not wearing it around his neck or anything, but
But that's all part of his routine. So he's
Yeah.
formed this routine for 17 years, and then all of a sudden he gets this news. Oh yeah, that's that ring. It's not good.
this
I'll
whole
tell you
time-
tomorrow.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
So maybe this chapter had raised more questions than answers.
Yeah, maybe I reckon. The next chapter should. I think this is like the start, the crest of the hill. Like we're really just like pushing up to get to the top of the hill, and from here on out, it's just going to be momentum all the way through.
The proceedings of the story is
That's what
just
I
going to roll away. And
Yeah, that's what I personally reckon. I might be wrong, but that's like my prediction.
I think our adventure will begin in the next chapter.
Yeah.
I hope so. I feel like we've got a solid foundation of knowledge here, and we have enough information to start moving forward.
Cool.
All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you all so much for listening. We're going to see you next week for the next chapter.
So once again, I'm Nick.
And I'm Mikkel. We are Fools of a Talk.
Bye.
Bye.
What's that? This, my friend, is a pint. It comes in pints.
Oh,
I'm getting one.
a fool. But an honest fool, he remains.